Hi everyone, Devorah here. Thank you for tuning into another edition of Kosher 2.0. I hope everyone is keeping cool and beating the summer heat. And as always, I just want to thank Kodesh Prohu for helping me out so much, for all his kindness and allowing me to do this, and for all the opportunities he gives me to serve him. It's just a wonderful, wonderful time always to be with him and to be with all of you. So thank you again. And today we're going to talk about raw vegan. Now, raw vegan seems to be one of those things that seems like it's another fad diet that we hear so much about, much like South Beach diet and Atkins. And, there's all these different kind of diets. And when you're trying to go more natural and more healthy, certainly these things come up. And there's a lot of curiosity that surrounds what should you be doing. And what is best for you. And of course, raw vegan naturally would be one of those things that come up as one of the options that you may want to entertain. Now, there's things I like about raw vegan and there's things I don't like about raw vegan. And the ironic thing is that I do eat a lot of raw, but I'm not vegan, and I do eat cooked foods. But there's things to really keep in mind when you're talking about or considering raw vegan. Now, I personally, I like to take, if there's a diet out there that has benefits to it, I like to take what's good about it. But, I find sometimes that some of these people who promote these diets are so rigid and they don't, they just think that their way is the right way. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in a lot of the diets, and some of them are just, they are just what they are, and that's fads. And we don't have any time for fads, especially not on Kosher 2.0. We just don't have time for that. And but there are things about raw vegan, like I said, that I like. Of course, it's whenever you're eating just the vegetation, it's just a better, better for your body. But there's things you have to consider. And when you're trying to go on a raw vegan lifestyle, you have to have your education behind you. And you also have to have a lot of preparation alongside you. So, like the detoxing, I've stated before that, if you're not detoxing with all of the information, you can find yourself really sick. Raw vegan is another area where if you don't go in with all the information, you can find yourself sick. So, again, you want to make sure that your nutritional support is intact. And that you're providing yourself what you need, because a lot of times what happens when people go on raw vegan is they become deficient in a lot of things, primarily things like calcium and protein. And, there's just a lot of, it's a hot topic and there's a lot of back and forth on it. So these are some of these things, if you want to do, you have to be really smart about how you're doing it. Now, I ironically eat a lot of raw foods, like I said, but I do eat the meat, and I do have large amounts of whatever I'm eating. As far as like if I have a salad, I don't just have like a little side salad. Like I have a salad. You know what I mean? If I'm going to eat like what they call a mono meal, which a mono meal is like just one item. Like let's say I'm going to have like all watermelon. I'm having a lot of watermelon. Okay, now. I'm not saying that's the way that you should be doing it. I'm just saying that's what, there's times that I do that, and I do it quite often for different reasons and at different times. But primarily, I like to eat a lot of things that are just natural, just the way they are. So raw vegan, it's really been around a long time, a lot longer than you think. And in fact, it's been around since early recorded history. In countries like Iran, for all my Persian girls out there, and also in India and Greece, I believe Daniel from the Torah could also be, there was a time that he was also on a limited diet that seemed very raw and vegan-ish for obvious reasons. And he, obviously he had very famous results about it. And I believe, like in Greece, there was two philosophers that were quite famous as well. Pythagoras and Hippocrates were also believed to have been raw vegan eaters. And in 1930, Dr. Paul Kochikoff, I think I said that right, produced a study that said our body's normal toxic reaction to eating. It produces a reaction called digestive leukocytosis, which occurs when cooked food is eaten. And what that is that it's an immediate increase of white blood cell count. Now, what that does in the body is that it triggers the body to think that you are ill or you have an infection or something of that nature. And it kind of goes into that kind of mode. And he also produced that same study, which said that this process did not occur when plants were eaten in their normal state. Now, again, here we go. We have to say it again. We have to bring the whole GMO issue in again, because this is an issue that if you're going to start incorporating, let's even say 40% of your diet into this, which means you're going to be increasing the produce that you're eating throughout the day. You want to be very mindful of the quality of the produce that you're eating. And to prove that, there was a Russian scientist, I believe he was a Russian scientist, who developed I think it's called the Kirlian photo. I think that's what, Kirlian photography. I think that's what it was called. But at any rate, he had gained a lot of notoriety because he had developed this camera which was able to record the aura of not only a person. He then at that point, expanded his research onto things like produce and animals and things of that nature. And he really, really became famous because he was capturing the aura of people who had just recently deceased, and he captured their auras leaving their body. So it's really, really interesting. The Zohar also talks about the auras of people. But he had also had these photos taken of fruits and vegetables that were cooked against raw, and also that they were organic against commercially farmed. Now, it was quite interesting to see the difference because the way they called it was the life force that kind of surrounds these items, these vegetation. And you can see a significant difference in the life force of something that was cooked versus uncooked, and something that was organic versus commercially farmed. So that would include your genetically modified produce. And so it's very interesting. So, I mean, the pictures, when you go into the study of these life forces around the vegetation, it's very interesting, and it really does seem to make for a good idea. But again, if you're not going in with the proper nutrition and your body is not, when you're eating, it's because your body is looking for certain things. Okay. And we talked about, people being deficient in certain minerals, certainly in vitamins. So you want to really, really make sure that you are supplementing correctly. But again, I myself don't just stick to a primarily raw diet. I do have cooked foods. I just don't have them as often as I used to do. And probably once a day, maybe the dinner has, cooked food in it. And sometimes lunch, I you know what I always tell you guys, don't get crazy about these things. You have other things to be concerned about. Okay. And once you get on the habit and on the trail of learning what to do and what to buy, it does become easier. It really does. But those photos, I have a few of them. I am going to link them to the broadcast. And, so I just wanted to go in a little bit about the raw vegan and to kind of give you some info about it. Now, there's a lot of information out there that you can find. If you're going to start doing some research because you think this is something you want to incorporate, again, like I said, if you want to put a percentage in, I personally don't recommend a 100% raw vegan diet. I just do not recommend it. That's me personally. I wouldn't do it. But I think there's, for no one can dispute there's obvious benefits with eating fruits and vegetables. So there's always the great benefits of that. I just don't think, you need all kinds of nutrition. So there's a lot of information out there. So, if you decide you want to go out and start researching on your own about these issues, just make sure that you're going through credible sources and that you're not just, taking some random whoever, make sure that these sources have studies and they're, they give you a lot of information, and don't just take one article and listen to the pros and the cons. Make sure that you're getting articles from people who had success and also who did not have success, and pay attention to why they didn't have success. And again, when you're starting to put in these more natural things into your diet, you want to make sure that you are very much prepared, because your body processes these foods very swiftly, and you will be hungry again. And if you're not prepared, you'll be reaching for something you shouldn't be reaching. So a few things to consider when you want to go into a raw vegan. But that's it for now. I just wanted to start introducing the raw vegan and what it was about. I am going to post those photos, which are very, very interesting. And again, thank you for tuning in, and I wish you all the best. Keep cool, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of Kosher 2.0.